So last thing we heard of you was the live album, which came out about 4 years ago, is that right?
That's correct. Around 1993, we released an album on Bleeding Hearts Records, which is owned and operated by Eric Cook, who's the manager for Venom.
Oh yes, I know him, yeah.
Okay, well, it was released on that label about 1993, and basically it was just various live shows throughout Germany on the previous European tour that Exciter did. And it's all the old classic songs on this live album.
From the first 3 albums.
Correct, yeah. Exactly. And the album was very well received, but of course it only was available mostly in this part of the world, like Europe and the UK, and not so much in America. In America it was imports. But the record sort of tied us over till this next stage of Exciter, which is now with this new album that we have out, The Dark Command. So in between that transition, like all the original members quit Exciter, and I'm the only remaining member, so I've decided to put the band back together and continue with some great musicians that are playing with me right now.
Mm-hmm.
This one is called Ritual Death!
From this new CD now? The sound, the songs? Did it change? Did you change your style of music?
Well, it's a mixture of the old and the new style. Like the same energy and spirit of the old Exciter is still in the new music, the new album, The Dark Command. But because the vocals are a little bit different from the original singer, it adds a fresh angle, and that it sounds more 90s, but old style. Yeah. You know, you can definitely tell that the band was originated in the 80s because of Exciter's original unique style. But the way that Jacques sings, it gives it a new twist of 90s flavoring. But the music is the intensity of the 80s. So we're pleasing the old fans at our shows, and we're getting a lot of new fans. And on the whole tour, like, our merchandise has been selling incredible, way beyond our expectations. You know, as you'll see tonight, the Exciter have this very intense visual show, which sort of sets the whole mood for the rest of the evening. You know, first Exciter, then Flotsam and Jetsam, and then Anvil. But the new album was, you know, sort of calculated to retain the energy of the old Exciter. So as a result, the record sales so far that we know of are climbing. The reviews of all the various magazines throughout Europe have been like incredible, like number 4 or number 2 or number 1 in the best new releases. So we're quite happy about the results of the new album.
But there's also, like John was referring to the fact that there's a few things that are calculated, but there's also like the fact that one member doing like the vocals and the drumming at the same time, being replaced by 2 people, 2 different musicians, will definitely make the whole thing sound totally different. When you have one drummer who's concentrating exclusively on drums and one other individual who's concentrating exclusively on vocals, and having done vocals all my life also, like, and exclusively that, of course it's going to give like a different flavor. But the thing, like, or the element that's going to keep everything together and make the whole thing and the whole album still sound like Exciter is, of course, like John's guitar playing and writing, which is still the same. It evolves, of course, but it still has the same energy, the same power, and he is basically the sound of Exciter since the beginning. beginning, I think, the original sound. So we're back to the original sound with a couple of refreshing elements without changing the roots, basically. So that's a combination of calculation and, of course, like natural ingredients in the whole thing.
So which songs are you going to play this evening? Only new songs? Also old songs? Are you going to sing the old ones?
Well, yes, of course. Like there's going to be actually a lot of old classics. Out of the, I don't know, like 10, 12 songs set, there might be like 3 new songs, and actually we're going to be playing like 10 tonight. So 3 new songs and 7 old classics from all the albums that John used to play on. That includes, of course, like Heavy Metal Maniac, Violence and Force, Long Live the Loud, and Kill After Kill. So there's songs off every album, and of course 3 new songs. That's going to be the program for tonight.
So who is doing the songwriting at the moment? Is it you on your own or the whole new band together?
Well, I decided to do all the writing because I was one of the originators of the whole sound of Exciter and one of the main songwriters for the whole duration of the Exciter's career. So when I formed this new Exciter, I made it clear that I would like to do the songwriting. So the uniqueness stays in the band, you know, because we found that we did try to, everyone put an equal share in the songwriting, but it didn't work out the way we would like it to sound. So I do all the songwriting on this new album. So I think, you know, it's the best thing to do, because usually you have one focus in the band. You know, in Motorhead it's Lemmy.
Yeah.
You know, in Van Halen it's Eddie Van Halen who does all the writing, you know. And if Eddie didn't do the writing, then it wouldn't sound like Van Halen. Same thing with Exciter, like I have to do all the writing.
Yeah.
So.
So we are maintaining the writing style that you had in the 80s, but the rest of the music scene has changed. What is your opinion towards the current music scene, I mean, in Canada and everywhere else?
Okay, well, the music that took over from the 80s, like the black metal and the industrial metal, that's on its way out. And the 80s hard rock and heavy metal is coming back in very, very strong, as witnessed on this tour so far. You know, the age group is a little bit older, you know, maybe 20 to 40 years old. But those are the true metalheads, you know. They're coming to our shows, they're buying the records. So I think eventually the 80s bands, like Exciter and Anvil, Manowar, Anthrax, Megadeth, they're going to have another shot of, you know, like great success. And now in America, like this 80s influence hasn't drifted over to America yet, but it'll be a matter of maybe 18 months or so before this whole 80s heavy metal phenomena is back in style throughout the whole world. And this is like a stepping stone to what's going to happen on this tour. You know, we're setting the stone for the 80s resurgence.
So if you talk about heavy metal per se, or like just that category of music, or that style, of course, most of the people over 30 years old don't listen to heavy metal anymore. Like most of them. There are still some people like me, like John, like a whole bunch of people like who come to our shows still and still enjoy it. But I think that the record companies and the industry, if they want to make money and sell, of course, like as many albums as possible, they're not going to get into heavy metal because you have to admit it, it's an alternative, well, not alternative as a style, but like it's a very different market and probably much more restricted or smaller than the more popular pop music market.
Yeah.
So when you say that the industry doesn't aim at the right crowd, I don't think it's right. But if you talk about heavy metal, yeah, probably, and they're probably readjusting now.
Mm.